So, how do we operate so as to promote security? How do we operate so as to go beyond the belief in need? How do we promote a universal experience of faith or fifth dimensional awareness? How do we do that? And this is what I've been saying to us, that we've got to have a level of awareness that is beyond the child's focus into this dimension. You, as an adult, have the ability to recognize truth, that you're a created being in a created world, that this world is a created experience. It's made up, it's a simulated world. There is that which has created the simulated world, and that one is beyond the simulated world. God can't be in the creation, God can't be in the simulation. Nobody can, show up in something that they've made. For example, the people who made the computers, the personal computers, they can't be in the computer. The people who made the cell phone can't be in the cell phone. You can build a house and you can step into the house. That's something different. That is at the same level. You understand? We are physical beings as humans. We experience ourselves as physical beings. We are spiritual beings experiencing ourselves as physical beings. And through the physical, we can operate with the physical. That means our hands can touch other, cement and brick and all that. And we can build a physical house through our physical being. But at different levels, a human physical being creating an electronic virtual world cannot appear in the virtual world actually. I can have a virtual representation in a virtual world, but that's not me. That's not me at all. You understand? And it's a simulation. So God is beyond. There's only the unique one. There's nothing likened unto God. There's nothing like God. You can't say, and God took some sand and made human beings. No? Because there's no God and sand at the same level. God is beyond the level of the simulation. God is the creator of the simulation, the one that has programmed the simulation, and is beyond, supreme, unique, and supreme beyond the simulated realm, beyond the created world. God is. So we can actually be aware of that there is this dimension. We are within this dimension, but there is beyond this dimension that which has caused this dimension, maintains and sustains this dimension, and because of whom we are always okay. So if you are in the child mind, you don't realize you are a created being in the created world. You think you always exist. You think you'll always exist. You always have existed. You'll always exist as a physical being. You think this world always was, and you'll think this world always will be. You don't realize the world came into being. It was made up, and one day will not be. That we as physical beings have come into existence, and we won't be as physical beings at some point. This is why the average person never ever considers their death, or when they look at their death, they're like scared and afraid. But I am thankful for my life, and I am aware that I exist, and by the grace of God, by the permission of God, I exist, and I continue to exist. I am thankful for my existence, that while I am as a physical human being, I'm very grateful. Why? Because I'm beyond the child. I'm beyond lost and locked in time and space. I'm aware of time and space. I'm aware that I'm a being in time and space, and I'm aware. So awareness is fifth dimensional. Awareness is fifth dimensional. When you are locked in time and space, you are in analysis, and you're in the child, and you're unconscious. That is the ego. Ego is unaware. You and I can experience being aware. So when I'm aware that I exist, I never did always as a physical being, and I never will always exist as this physical being, I'm aware of that. And I'm grateful for my existence and my time that I have today and that I will have, and whatever other time I have. I'm very grateful for it. I can begin to appreciate it. I can begin to value the time that I have. You see, now that's different from the average person that says, I live to work, or I live to eat, or I live to, to be okay. I live to work. I live to get money, to earn money. I live to please people. I live to help people. The average unenlightened egoic being is like a robot and is like clueless where they are, who they are, what's going on here, what's the purpose, and they are lost in trances. They are superstitious, ignorant, and sometimes even arrogant. But if you're aware, you're operating fifth dimensionally, you're operating at a higher level, you can be more conscious, you can operate more consciously, you can choose, you can live with purpose, you can apply yourself. It's a different ball game altogether when you operate at the fifth dimensional level of awareness. So we can begin to recognize nothing in the world of form, in dimension, that can be quantified. Anything in the world of form is not anything for us to be distracted by. If we are distracted and disturbed by anything that we can perceive in the world of time and space, in the world of form, and we get distracted and disturbed by it, that means we are lost in fourth dimensional reality. That means we are in time and space and we are in a trance. So here is a very simple way to understand worship and prayer. Here is a simple way to actually know what we really applying ourselves in. Because the people who are in religious worship and prayer, which can amount to superstition and ignorance and arrogance, they are not going from fourth to fifth dimension. They're not entering into the kingdom. The great master said, first seek ye the kingdom and all its righteousness. Then all these things that you could want to eat and drink and wear and live shall be taken care for you. It shall be given unto you. All the things in the world that you are trying to get and you focus on bringing in, or things that you're trying to change and you're trying to get it to be changed, all these things that you are reacting to, trying to bring in, trying to get out, trying to change, they'll be sorted out for you if you live in kingdom consciousness. What is kingdom consciousness? It's fifth dimensional awareness. You see? So what he's saying is, these things that you're focusing on, that you're trying to change and control into your life, out of your life, make be different. You are lost in a trance. You are focusing on it, believing it needs to be, or it needs to be different, or it needs to go away. You have this kind of powerless approach to some form, disturbed by it or distracted by it, and trying to manipulate it in or manipulate it out, creating opposing forces against yourself in the process. Because the universe is going to say, yes, you are lacking. Yes, you do need it. Yes, you don't have it. Yes, this is bad. Whatever it is, you're just going to, with your strong feeling directed into time and space, you are going you're going to be lost and locked in time and space. You're not going to experience kingdom consciousness. You're not going to experience security. You're not going to experience worship. You're not going to experience multidimensional groundedness. You're not going to experience 0 point neutrality. You're not going to experience pure energy flow beyond time and space. You're going to be identified with your mind, your emotions, your behaviors, and your experiences, and you're not going to experience pure energy, bliss. You're not going to experience natural energy flow at a pre-etheric level, at a multidimensional level. Before the etheric, there is multidimensional pure energy. Then there's thought, etheric. Then there is astral, emotional. Then there is, getting into behavioral action. It's how you think leads to how you feel, leads to your actions, and then leads to your experience. So we want to have the experience of being what is termed a believer. But it's not somebody who believes in an idea or through the mind believes. The word for believer really is the experience of security. The word mu'min or mu'min in Aramaic and Arabic is the secure. The one who knows that they are okay with God, that there is God and they are in the care of God. The one who is, relating to God's relating of them. And this is what I said to us yesterday. I was saying to you yesterday that we are to champion truth. We are to champion that we are okay now. Because we are. We are to be aware that we are okay. First things first is the water is to be appreciated by the fish. The air is to be appreciated by the bird. Our existence and our continued existence that most people take for granted is something for us to acknowledge first. If you begin to acknowledge and accept your existence and the support that exists for your existence, that the support there is for our existence, then we are starting off at a level of awareness that most people will never have that level of awareness for, or about. Like the fish is not aware about water, or the bird is not aware of air. Put the fish in the air, it'll tell you, I need the water. You put the bird in the water, it'll tell you, oh, that air. So people operate in life oblivious of the fact that they exist and that they've come into being and that they are kept in existence, and that is something awesome. That's something really, something to appreciate and feel good about, that there's a sustaining power. God is guarding, we are guarded, and that power is not only sustaining but supportive, that there is a caring, considerate, compassionate, championing, contributory, caretaking power. And people don't recognize that. And as we begin, yesterday looking at what did our parents live, and we find that either our parents lived religious beliefs that may or may not be contaminated, that means they might have had some degree of spirituality, the actual experience of being sustained and supported, or they might have been in their minds, or they might have gone the other direction, either gone into rationalism or trusting in their own mind, in their own thinking, and so they are locked in through the mind, through the etherics, into belief systems, or they're locked in through the mind through their belief that they can figure things out through their mind. So they are operating at the mind plane, P-L-A-N-E level of existence, the etheric, and they're not operating beyond the mind level of existence, the multidimensional. And they're not at the awareness level. They're at the analysis level, but they're not at the awareness level. Remember, if you identify with the mind, you don't know that the mind is a created thing. You don't know that you have a mind. You see, the whole thing about our approach to worship and prayer is that I have a mind, and I'm not my mind. If I get identified with the mind, I get shrunken to a limited version of myself. And what we are saying here is that we want to have an expanded version of ourselves. We are not our bodies, we have bodies. But once you get identified with the perceptions of the body, the thoughts of the mind, the feelings of the emotional body, we are not our emotional bodies, we are not our emotions, we are not our thoughts, we are not our perceptions, we are not what we perceive with, think with, feel with. We are not what we perceive, think and feel. We are beyond the created world. But if your parents weren't exposed to this, if they didn't have an openness to know this, if they were quite comfortable, controlled by their minds and living through their minds, they would never have experienced okayness. And you might have never seen your parents experience security or actual faith in God, security. And you may have lived your life not knowing that there is security for you to live. If you're a child of beggars, and all you know is your parents were beggars and you saw them living beggarly, in that way, you might identify and model them, their attitudes, and of course coming with the same energy, you probably will live out like them, because energy, is reflected, and as we attract others who are like us. If you're a child of a beggar or beggars, you probably end up being a beggar in your life. If you're a child of people who were in the mind or identified with the ego and the belief in need, and they didn't know beyond, you probably would be that person who doesn't know beyond, or you won't experience assurance, security, okayness. And so what we are looking at here is, do we want to go beyond our parents, our tribe, other people? How have our parents, family members, tribal members operated in our lives? Observe how they operated through the mind, the belief in need. Look at how it compromised them from relating to themselves, their bodies, their lives, and to relating with their children, us, etc., etc., and other people. Look at what it costed them. They didn't stand in their power that they have. They did not allow themselves to experience security, and they didn't thus stand in their power. They were controlled by fear or the belief in need or lack, which is all the same thing. And then they kept themselves from God's good in this world and the world beyond. They never experienced satisfaction and fulfillment. They never lived out experience being cared for and caring. They never had a high quality level of experience in the world. Again, all this is said without judgment and with compassion and love. And as we did it as an exercise yesterday, it was an exercise of healing and allowing, without being in a trance about their trances. And so what we're really getting at is, we can live our lives without being controlled by trances. We can go beyond trances. What are trances? We can go beyond the mind's focusing of us into time and space. And the mind itself doesn't know it's a part of time and space. You understand? But the mind is not multidimensional. Thoughts are things. You understand? It's in time and space. You can't see it, but it's a thing. Emotions are things. You can't see it, but it is a thing. Thoughts are etheric. Emotions are astral. And, actions are physical. Experiences are lived as material. But all these things are things. And they operate in this dimension. So we want to go beyond the etheric, the astral, the physical, the material. And we want to operate at the energetic level of security, which is what worship is, faith is. And what that means is, we know that there is beyond what we see and perceive. There is beyond what we think about and our thinking about it. There is beyond what we feel about and what we feel about it. There is beyond the physical world, the physical realm. There is the energetic realm. There is a spiritual realm. The Master said, God is spirit, and we worship God in spirit and in truth. You understand? He didn't say God is mind, God is emotion, God is action, God is behavior, God is something in time and space, or some experience. No, God is spirit. God is pure energy. God is pure beyond our awareness, but we can experience beyond the mind's awareness, the body's awareness. Let's say it properly. Beyond the mind's perception, beyond the body's perception, beyond the emotion's perception, there's God. So when we are emotional, we are in the created structure of the emotional body, and we don't realize that we're trapped there. When we are perceptually focused through the senses and sensations, we don't realize that we're trapped in the body in time and space, and we're locked into time and space through it. When we are in thought and lost in beliefs, we don't realize that we are actually identified with the mind, which is in time and space, and locked in to time and space by the mind. We don't realize it. So all this is fourth dimensional living, identified with the ego, identified with the reactive part of you, the believing part of you, like I believe in need. Identified with the belief in need, you feel like it's true. It's not true, and you start acting like, feeling like it's true. It looks like it's true, you start feeling like it's true, you start acting like it's true, and you start living like it's true, but it's not. It's all a misperception. It's all an illusion that you get to miscreate and experience as true, but it's not really so. So what we're talking about is actually going beyond that, going beyond trances. And what does that mean, going beyond trances? It means to recognize that any kind of focus on anybody, anything, or any experience within time and space that we get identified with, or the way I say it is excessively focus on, exclusively pay attention to, and feel strongly about anything that we get identified with, excessively focusing on something, exclusively paying attention to it and feeling strongly about it. That is a trance. We are focused into time and space and locked and lost in time and space, and we are not experiencing the kingdom or fifth dimensional awareness and experiencing. We're not experiencing faith, belief. You understand? In the truest sense of what that means, the awareness of God beyond time and space, and the experience of God beyond time and space, and knowing that there is the one because of whom we are and we continue to be, the unique and supreme, the all great, the all gracious, the free of need, the uncreated, the beyond, because of whom we are. So the believer, the true believer, the secure, the mu'min, the moment, the one that truly is a believer in terms of what we understand it to be, experiencing security now, aware of the truth and aware that there is the one, and is experiencing that security now, that person is not distracted and disturbed by goings on in time and space. The believer is aware of God and that they are the created beings in the care of God, created by God, existing because of God, continuing to exist because of God, and in the care of God, that God is guarding and we are guarded. So when we are true believers, we always are aware and conscious, multidimensionally. We have God consciousness. We are spiritually aware that there is the one, spirit, beyond the created, and it is with us and for us, interested in us, attentive to us. We exist because of it. We will continue to exist because of it. We exist right here, right now, and our existence is guaranteed even beyond our death, and we are thus always in the care of the one. We are sustained. Our existence is, and there is a sustaining power that assures our existence and ensures our experience of satisfaction. There is the one that has caused us to be, because of which we are, because of which we will continue to be. There is that one. And we are aware of that. And that is valuable to us. We realize God is more valuable, relevant, and significant than anything created. Nothing compares to the fact that there is God, and we are in the care of God, that we have existence, and that we will continue to have existence, and that not only is God interested in our existence, but God is interested in the quality of our existence. So the believer or the secure person is aware multidimensionally that I exist. That's a wonderful thing. What a great gift, what a great favor. I exist living as a human being. How awesome, not as a pony or as a fruit fly, but as a human being. I've got this body that is designed for comfort and convenience in this world, this earth suit which is so suitable for life on this planet. It's ideal, it's the best form of all the created beings, to have hands and feet, to stand on your hind legs, to able to balance, is the best form on the planet that we have. How wonderful. And that we have been given worth. How wonderful. We have worth. We don't have to earn worth. We are okay. We created okay. We are valuable the way we are. We're created with innate value. We are given that. We don't have to earn that. We have abilities, faculties. We have ability to reason, learn, grow, develop, endowments. How awesome is that? We are aware of that we've been given good, granted good, that we can be worshippers of God. We have the ability beyond the animals in the way that we worship God. Multidimensionally, we pray to and through God, that we can operate super and supra-consciously, that we can see other realities into being, we can choose alternative realities. We've been given the power to choose. Animals can't choose. We can choose not only our choices of what we want, but also we can choose alternate realities. We can choose our behaviors, how we want to live, but what we want to experience you can choose. People don't realize that not only can you choose, like I choose tea over coffee. I don't drink tea and coffee, just so that you know. But I'm just giving you as an example. I choose this hot drink, hot chocolate, which I do drink, hot chocolate. But you can also choose a reality. I choose the experience of financial prosperity. I choose the experience of relational satisfaction. You can choose. You've been given that ability to choose. The ability to invoke God's good upon you, to summon what there is, to claim what there is. That it's already there. There's already God's good for us in this world and the world beyond. And we are aware that it's there, and we rejoice that we relate to our lives and our afterlives in a receptive way. We allow ourselves to have higher quality being, becoming higher quality living and experiencing, higher quality of operating, interacting, relating in our lives. That's what we see for ourselves. And we become transformed. And our lives become changed through consciousness. So a believer is aware of this. This is not something I read in a book. This is not what somebody told me. I haven't been part of any religious organization and religious teachers and or spiritual teachers. I haven't had any, indoctrinations that have led me to this truth. The Quran says when you believe in God, He guides your heart. That's everybody. Not just Muslims or those who follow the way of Muhammad. Anybody who really believes in God. But it must be universal God. It mustn't be a belief system, an idea in your mind. Anybody who really believes in God, means is aware of God and experiences God, they will have their hearts guided. They will be shown the way. You understand? When you go multidimensional, you become aware, and from that level of awareness, you are progressing and you will prosper. So, what I'm talking to you about is living fifth dimensionally, living with faith, actually being a human being that is aware of beyond time and space, beyond your mind, beyond your body, living from beyond being controlled by your mind, living from beyond control by the beliefs in need, living from beyond your body and being controlled by what you see. Because a lot of people see my current reality, this is my current reality, and we get upset and we start trying to change what we see. But you don't have to be controlled by what you see with your body's eyes. You can start seeing with your being's awareness, with your being's eyes, so to speak, your being's awareness. You can start seeing a different reality, and guess what? This reality will shift into that one. Now, your parents may have never known this, your tribe may have never known this, and they might have lived believing superstition, which is trances and controlled by their mind and controlled by their bodies, and they think, but look, this is what's real. What's real is what I see with my eyes. In the meantime, it's a reflection of your energy. Shift your energy, the reflection will change. So, this is the thing, that people that we've come from and who we've been are controlled by the mind, the belief in need, or beliefs, or I can think, or I know, or perceptions of what we see, or emotions, lost in emotions. Oh, I feel so bad about what is happening, or what has happened, or what can happen. Oh, I'm so angry, I'm so upset. What does that do? Just lock you up into the current reality. So, I'm saying to you that there exists an option, an opportunity for all human beings to operate fifth dimensionally with faith. I'm not talking about religious faith, which might translate to indoctrinations of religious organizations. Believe this, then you'll be saved. Believe, believe, believe. We are talking about become aware of God, experience the caring of God, experience the truth. God is spirit. Let's worship God in spirit, energetically, vibrationally, multidimensionally, and in truth. What is the truth? That we are in the care of God. We are okay now. We are considered now. So, for those of you who are championers of truth and who want to live with faith, it may, if your parents did not have faith as I define it, and there's no judgment, if they were lost in mind, emotions, and the perceptions, if they were controlled by what they saw, if they didn't operate multidimensionally, you might have followed in the same way. And they abandoned themselves from the care of God. They abandoned themselves by reacting, trying to make sure they were okay. They didn't include themselves in their own awareness. That's what we spoke about yesterday. And what happens is they are in a trance. They are not going multidimensional. They're not aware that there is the unique and supreme, all great, all gracious one beyond time and space. They're not aware of that. And that one is loving beyond our level of understanding how loving God is, considerate, compassionate. The caring, the one that has caused us to be is beyond us and our complete level of awareness. But there is the one. We can know that. We might not know what the one really is, but we know that one is not physical and is not material. That's why we say God is love, God is support, God is intelligence, God is life, God is truth, God is compassion. All these kind of things we say, but we don't say God is 2 meters tall, God is 70 kilos in weight, we don't say that, because God is not material, God is not physical. God is energy, God is spirit. So, for those of us who want to really follow in a universal way of actual faith, we can go beyond the mind, the body, and the emotions, and we can begin to focus on multidimensional awareness, which is where I've taught you the worship prayer protocols, which I've said to you it's a good idea every day to practice exiting time and space, to surrender, to release, to become aware of the one, to establish a connection, a relationship with God, and God's relating to experience being related to by God. Because if you can be aware that there is God, not in time and space, not here or there, but immediate. God is here, now, everywhere. Not in time and space, but all there is really is God that created the simulated world. The simulated world doesn't really exist. And God can't be here and there in a world that doesn't really exist, that is created, that is simulated. But there is really only God. Not even God and us, or God and the simulated world. There is only God, the one that is, that made a world that doesn't really exist, but appears to exist. God is the actual, we are the apparent. This is an apparent reality. We are apparent beings, but God is the only actual being, incomparable to us. So if you have spent time over the months and years and gotten involved in exiting time and space, going multidimensional, becoming aware of the beyond and relating to the beyond and experiencing being related to by the beyond through awareness and knowing, then you can have the experience of I'm okay, I exist through the grace of the one all great power. I continue to exist through the grace of the one all great power. I'll always be okay. I'm okay now. But if you are not in the multidimensional, if you're not into spiritual truth, if you are into fourth dimension, you won't realize you exist and therefore you're okay, and you will exist beyond your death, and you'll always be okay because of the one that gave you life and sustains your life. You won't know that. If you are in the fourth dimension, if you are lost in time and space, what you'll be saying and what you'll be doing is like, I want money, something physical, and you'll be controlled by that. I don't have money, so you'll feel very sad and you get very worried. Or I want somebody to love me, or I need some money, or I need a job, or I need somebody to love me. I need something to be a certain way, it's not that way. I need something to not be the way it is, it's the way I don't want it to be. If you are not spiritually focused, multidimensionally aware, you will be very disturbed and distracted by people, things, and experiences. You will be extremely disturbed by people, things, and experiences. And you'll be like denying I exist, and I'm grateful for my existence. You'll deny that there is the source of my existence, and I acknowledge that source, and I appreciate the gift, the relevance of God in my life, the significance of God in my life. What I'm saying to you is, if we are choosing to be aware of our existence and the cause of our existence, we are operating at a higher level. And if we are willing to appreciate our existence and recognize nothing compares with our existence, a job doesn't compare with our having existence. Having a job doesn't compare with having existence. Having money doesn't compare with having existence. Money is not as relevant as God is, the one power, the supreme energy that has caused us to be and keeps us continuing to be, that cares for us, considers us, that is the compassionate, the contributor, the caretaker, the cherisher, the championer. That we are, because of our championing Creator, and our Creator is championing our existence and also our experience. God is interested in the quality, not only interested in our lives, but the quality of our lives. To be aware of that, not to think about that, not to believe about that, not to perceive about that through the body, not to emote about that through the emotions. This is not something that, we, through the ego. Because through the ego, you'll be hearing me, but you won't experience what I'm telling you. Like a child can't appreciate, when you tell a child, look at the house that you live in, you have a roof over your head, you have a bed to sleep in, you have hot food to eat, the child doesn't know what you're talking about. I only want that toy. Mommy, Mike has got the bike, and so I want the bike. If I don't have the bike, I can't be happy. Don't tell me I must be happy on my bed, sleep in a bed. Don't tell me to be happy that I have a house to live in, and food to eat, and fresh clothes to wear. Don't tell me about all. I want a bike. You understand? If you're in a child mentality, you can't appreciate. You have parents who love you, who care about you, who have considered you, who do things for children. Can't appreciate that. You understand? So if you're listening to me, and you're listening to me from a child mentality, you'll think, I just want the bike. Forget about everything else, Ashraf. I just want the bike. I don't care about God and existing. I just want the bike. I just want the job. I just want the money. I just want somebody to love me. Which basically, I just need the money. I just need the job. I just need somebody. I just need to not be sick. I just need this thing to change. You understand? So you want to see, are you or the people you know, are they in the child, I want the bike? Or are they in the adult to say, yes, mom, the bike would be fun and it would be enjoyable to have. But it doesn't compare with your loving of me, your caring of me. It doesn't compare with having a place to live. It doesn't compare. It's incomparable. So a lot of us in the child mode, in the ego mode, we don't understand existence is incomparable to experience. Experience is secondary, existence is primary. We exist, what a great thing it is. No experience compares to that. We will continue to exist. How cool is that? We are not appreciating the one that has caused us to exist as relevant and as significant, as special and important, as of consequence. That nothing in the world compares with God. We think, no. God is important, but also my job. God is important, but my job is more relevant than God, or just as relevant as God. Nothing created compares with God, the incomparable. Nothing created is in any way relevant to God. Now, if you can't see that, you are in the child mentality. And it's okay that you are in the child mentality. I'm not saying that to judge you or to say it's wrong. I'm just saying that's where you are. If you can't see the value of God, the relevance of God, the God's relating to us and how valuable that is, if you can't see that, then that means you just want the bike, the doll, the toy. You understand? You can't see I have loving parents and how wonderful it is to have loving parents. You're like focused into time and space. You are in a trance. It's okay that you be in a trance. Don't go into a trance about going into a trance. Don't make a trance something to focus on more than God. Don't make focusing on something and somebody more important than for us, to focus on God. Don't make it more important than our focusing on people, things, and experiences. Don't focus on that more than focusing on God. So my point is that you, each one of you and me, we have the opportunity to live beyond 4 dimension and 5th dimensionally. We can live 5th dimensionally. For those who want it, for those who desire it, for those who recognize the great achievement that it is to go beyond society and its unconsciousness, to support evolving society into consciousness, to have the opportunity to be a remarkable human being on the planet, to live in a different way from those that are ignorant, superstitious, and arrogant, to actually have human excellence, to demonstrate human excellence. Now, not everybody might want that. Some of you might say, I just want the money, please, Ashraf, please, like a beggar. I don't care about being an excellent human being, Ashraf. Just give me money for shelter. It's raining. Just give me money for food. I got no food. I'm uncomfortable. I'm in discomfort. I don't like the discomfort. The most important thing for me is to avoid discomfort. I'm not happy. I don't want to be not happy. I need to be happy. I'm not pleased. I need to be pleased. Now you have to ask yourself, what kind of human being are you? Do you want to live as a person who just says, I'm not pleased, I need to be pleased? Because then you will never live as an excellent human being. You will never live demonstrating the highest levels possible. So you can forget about your personal power. You can forget about your creative power. You can forget about God's good in this world and the world beyond. You know what I mean? If you're living like a child and you continue to live at a child level, 4th dimensional, and if you are championing a child's level, you can expect problems, difficulties, lack, suffering, horrors in this world and the world beyond. That's what you can expect. You might think, but I don't care as long as I get the money. Yeah, then you're going to need the money, you're going to be needy, you're not going to support good feeling, you're not going to support security, okayness, you're not going to be an adult choosing to support good feeling. Naturally, you're not going to relate to God's good for you in this world and the world beyond. You're going to operate powerlessly. But people say, I don't care as long as I got the money. As long as I can pay my bills, that's the most important thing. I'm controlled by bills. Ashraf, as long as I got a place to live, man, that's the most important thing. As long as I got money, I got a place to live. As long as I got somebody in my bed, that's the most important thing to be. Now, that's a very immature and, lowly level of operating that as a human that most people operate at. And it's okay, there's no judgment. I just don't choose that. It doesn't inspire me, it doesn't delight me to live unconsciously, needily, to create lack that doesn't exist, disease and deprivation, and sooner or later you're going to suffer. Doesn't inspire me at all. Although the ego will say, but as long as you got the money, as long as you got this thing, as long as you got what you need, if you got what you need, you'll be okay. So I want to ask you to think about this. You don't have to answer now, but do you want to champion a belief in need? Do you want to look at something in the world like you need it? Do you want to look at something in the world like you need to get it? Do you want to look at something in the world like you need to get rid of it? Do you want to look at something in the world like you need to change it? It can be anything. It can be money, can be a job, can be a partner, can be your weight, can be your behaviors, can be anything. When you focus on anything created or anything within the simulated created world, when you focus on anything made up and you give it a relevance and a significance more than the relevance and significance of God, when you make it important and special, meaning you get distracted by it, you start thinking about it and focusing on it with an excessive focus, an exclusive attention, and a strong feeling, you go into a trance. That's Satan controlling you. You forget that I exist and the value of my existence. You forget about the one that has caused you to exist and the relevance, the significance, the importance, the specialness, the value of the one that exists. You're forgetting about your existence and God, the cause of your existence, and how valuable your existence is, and that you'll always exist, and how valuable God and relevant is God to us, that we are okay, we have God, we are in the care of God. You're forgetting about that. You're forgetting about that, and you are getting lost in time and space. You're forgetting about God. That means you're not actually aware of God. You're not really a believer. You're not aware that you are okay, that you exist. There is sustaining power that's all loving and all compassionate and all merciful and all benefiting and all caring, all championing, interested in you and is for you. You're forgetting about that. You don't have that awareness of the caring of God for you. God is caring for you, but you're not aware of it. Sometimes somebody can love us and care for us, but we're so deep in the child trances, we can't see that they love us and care about us and for us. We can't see it. We can't see when we are cared for and loved. We can't see what we have because we are in the trance. Give me what I need. Give me what I need. Sometimes we're in the trance, we can't see that God is, and God is caring for us. I just want this money. My son mustn't be the way he is. My daughter mustn't be the way she is. I mustn't be the way I am. My parents mustn't be. This must be different. That must be different. Just lost in the world and controlled by things, people, and experiences. That's how unbelievers live, by the way. That's the difference between a believer, a secure person, and an insecure person. An insecure person is highly reactive, getting upset, feeling bad, emotional. Look at people when they get emotional and upset and trying to change, fighting, arguing, forcing, beating each other up, attacking each other. Those are unbelievers. They're unbelievers, lost in an illusion, they're in hell. But when you see believers, they're peaceful, they're calm. They don't like what's going on, but they're respectful. They are dignified. They carry on with dignity, and dignifying others, respecting others. They address situations without reaction. They are knowing that they're okay and everything is okay. They appreciate God's Godding. They maintain the connection multidimensionally, and they deal with whatever's going on in a creative way. The believers and the non-believers are not the same. The secure and the insecure are not the same. Those who operate fifth dimensionally and fourth dimensionally are not the same. Now, we might have seen our parents, our family members, our tribes lost in fourth dimensional living, and 99% of the world actually, maybe more, 99.9 maybe. We are the people at this particular time that have the opportunity to go multidimensional. We have an awareness, an interest, a willingness, and some calling within us to undo the ego, to go beyond reaction, to recognize God and respond to God, to recognize beyond the physical world multidimensionally and to appreciate our existence, to recognize our existence, the value of our existence, to appreciate our existence, to recognize and value and appreciate the one alone, innately valuable, uniquely valuable. We can do that multidimensionally, beyond the mind and the body and the emotions. But to the person lost in the mind, locked in the world, lost in the body's perception, locked in the world, lost in the emotions, locked in the world, they don't know what you're talking about. They're like the child, just give me the bike. I don't want to know that I'm loved and what that is by my mother and father, that I have a room, a bed, a home, food, school fees. I don't want to know about all that. That's normal. I just want what I believe I need. You see, that is now problematic. So, what we're looking at is, are we aware, first, before any experience of our existence? Can we be focused on our existence before experience? Can we focus beyond the material physical world than what is within the material physical world? Can we recognize, if we are mature enough, if we've developed ourselves enough with the worship prayer protocols, because this is a process of releasing, becoming more and more aware, more and more conscious, surrendering, experiencing multidimensionally, that are we, when we get up in the morning, can we be aware of the universal sustaining power, supportive of our satisfaction, that is unique and supreme? Can we be aware of that? There is God, the one power, all great, all gracious. There's only the one power, actually, that created, that we are created beings within a created world, but we don't really exist, but God does. We are apparent, but God is actual. Nothing here is relevant and significant, only God really is. We are indebted to God alone, nobody and anything else. Nothing compares with God, the incomparable. Not only is God beyond what our understanding levels allow us to perceive, but in relevance and significance. That's where we surrender and we humble ourselves and connect with God, and we really appreciate God and value God, and God's valuing and appreciation of us. We start recognizing that God is relating to us, that we are related to by God, that God is with us and for us, interested in us, attentive to us. There's nothing else, and there's definitely nothing else against us. There's only the championer of us. There's only the supporter and encourager of us, the sustainer, the nurturer, the nourisher, the guide, the guardian, the granting for us, the generous. There's nothing else. There's nothing malevolent and maleficent. There is no malefactor. There's only one, and it's the benefiting, caring, benefactor, beneficent. There is only. Can you acknowledge that truth? And that we are because of it, and we are in its care. And by becoming aware of it, we experience security. And we go beyond the insecurities that miscreate in our reality. By releasing the belief in need, we go beyond misperceptions and illusions. We start realizing there's only God, and we are in the care of God. We are okay. Everything is okay. This is experiencing the divine reality. The more we experience the divine reality, that there's only God whom we bow and prostrate to, what that means is we surrender psychologically. We surrender. We surrender that there's God and this world, or there's this world and God. There's something in this world that's as relevant as God, or more relevant than God. There's something in this world that's significant or more significant to God, or just as significant to God. That this world is not anything to focus on in an exclusive way, and excessive way, to focus on an excessive way, to pay attention to in an exclusive way, to feel strongly about. This is the worship, the surrendering every day. Not my business, not me, not my body, not anything, not my behavior, not anybody is anything to make special, important, equal to God. God alone is to be focused. I drop everything. I release every day. I surrender my own importance, me, my mind, what I think about, my thinking. I let it go just to become aware of the one and surrender before the one, and to know there is really only God, the championing presence, which I appreciate. And I really value that there is only a supportive presence, a sustaining presence, and I have existence, and my existence is a given and will always be given. I can trust in God, and that the quality of my experience is important to God. That there's nothing but God who created, and we are His creation, and He's the all great. We experience security, being blessed when we recognize that we are secure with God, the all great. And God is the all gracious, that God is the all benefiting, and we are always benefited by God. There's God's good for us already in our existence. Like I told you, you have a mind to think, you have affect, feeling to connect with, you have a body, you have hands to touch and do things, you have eyes to see where you're going, you have ears to hear. God is the truly caring, the truly considerate, the truly compassionate. That even people deny God, but God doesn't withhold that from us. To take away your sight because you're not appreciating. No. God is always giving to all creation. The free of need, the one that gives freely. I'm aware of God. I surrender and I appreciate God. I have a relationship to God. This is you going beyond the child and the child's mind in time and space. This is where you're using your adult resources. To worship God is the use of adult resources. This is about going beyond who you've been and how you lived, how your parents have been and how they lived, how you've lived and how you've been like them. At the child level, where humanity is operating at a level less than human excellence. This is about you living at a level of human excellence. A child can't think and reason the way an adult can. Now, a child can't worship and pray and understand spiritual matters and live and experience the way adults can. Do you understand? We today can be aware of an experience beyond the way we've been living all this time. When you ask a child about love relationships and about things like human sexuality, they'll be like, yuck, ooh, and all that. But as an adult, you can enjoy sexual pleasure. As a child, you can't do it. You understand? I'm just making the point. There's a difference when you're a child and there's a difference when you're an adult. There's a different way of being aware when you're a child at a child level, and there's a different level of being aware when you're an adult level. As an adult, you can worship in a universal way that is multidimensional experiencing. Whether you will, I don't know. But you can engage God beyond a child level of an engaging God. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm enjoying. And that's what I'm experiencing. I'm choosing, to experience okayness regardless of anything and anybody. That yes, so if I have financial problems, just using this as an example, I still am more interested in God and God's greatness and graciousness. I'm still more interested in the fact that I exist. I'm still interested in the fact that God is sustaining my existence, and my existence will always be sustained, that I'm okay, I will always be okay. I'm still interested in the fact that God is granting and giving, and there is God's good for me in this world and the world beyond. I'm not experiencing it, but it's there. I'm more interested in that than my financial problems or my health problems or, my love life problems, just giving as an example. That my behaviors, I eat too much of sugar, I consume too much of sugar. But the moment I start saying I consume too much of sugar, look at my eating, look at my weight, this is an example. Oh, I'm so unhealthy. Oh, I smoke cigarettes, people, oh, I don't exercise. Now suddenly you focus on that. You're disturbed by that. You're distracted by that. You forget about I exist. You forget about the true nature of the existence of God, incomparable to our existence. In fact, we exist, but God doesn't exist. We exist because God really is. We have come into being. God never came into being. God always was. God always is, and God will always be. God never came into existence. God was never brought into existence. God doesn't exist as we exist. God is the unique. God is. We exist because of God. To exist means to have a experience of existing. You understand that come into being. God is the truly existent with a capital E that never exists but exists. You understand? God is existence with an A. We are existence with an E. God really exists with a capital E. We have an experience of existence with small e. God is a capital E, existence with an A. S-T-A-N-C-E. We are existence with an E. S-T-E-N-C-E. You understand? So, am I going to be disturbed and distracted from God because of my weight? I'm overweight. Just give you an example. Or I have very bad eating habits. Am I going to get disturbed and distracted by that? Am I going to focus exclusively now, my son is like this, my daughter is like that, my children are on drugs, and they're not performing in school the way I think they should. They're not being the way I am. Now I'm focusing on all that. You understand? That's now weak spirituality. That means no spiritual power, no security, getting disturbed, getting bothered, getting affected, feeling needy. That's weak, spiritual weakness. There's no spiritual power. But the more I say, God is the incomparable. God alone is to be given excessive focus, exclusive attention, and strong feeling. Things may be, and we speak the truth about what we perceive things as, that is true. I can have better eating habits, I can exercise. But that doesn't now mean I must stop focusing on God's greatness and graciousness. It doesn't mean that I must stop focusing on appreciating my existence and that I will always exist, how wonderful that is. It doesn't mean I must stop focusing on God is the all-granting. The extent to which God is granting is beyond my level of awareness. You understand? That there is for me His good in this world and the world beyond. All I got to do is be aware of it and claim it, and it becomes. A believer is so grounded in truth that there really is only God. That's why I start you off with Tawheed. When we look at the spiritual practices, Ikhad, Jesus said, Moses said, Muhammad said, Ikhad, Ahad. God is the unique one. They didn't say God is Wahid, which means the number one. Wahid, number one. God is Ahad, the unique. You can't even say the unique one. The unique. There's not one or two. There's no duality. There's only the energy of God that really exists. So, those of us who are on the path of worshipping God as God is to be worshipped, in an actual scientific way, in an actual experiential way, we are developing every day more and more the awareness nothing and nobody is for us to react to. No experience, nothing created is anything for us to react to. We don't project power on anything and anybody. We recognize God is the one power. This is the difference between experiencing God as the one power through worship compared to idolizing things of this world. Something is something that has power, a job, money, health, some form, my behavior. If I was a different behavior, if my weight was a different measurement of weight, if I would be okay. I need something to be different, then I'll be okay. This mustn't be, then I'll be okay. Something else must be, then I'll be okay. My son mustn't be like he is. My daughter mustn't be like she is. My parents mustn't be like they are. My children mustn't be, whatever. The government mustn't be as they are. Things must be different. Things need to be different for me to feel okay. Nothing needs to change, not even you. You don't need to change you. You don't need to change anybody. You don't need to change anything. You don't need to change yourself. Nobody needs to change you for you to feel secure. Security is not a function of anything changing or changing anything. In fact, insecurity is produced when you believe that something needs to change or something is needed. We can, while we are as we are, open up and become aware of truth. Surrender, release, experience truth, that I am. And that's because of the unique and supreme one power. And that one power is championing, and there's no challenging power. That power is encouraging, there's no discouraging power. That power is giving and is securing. There is no threatening power. There's only one power that's really real, that's significant, that's important and special, that is relevant. I surrender every day. I am among those who surrender. That me, this world, nothing, nobody is anything that is to be given more attention to. I always want to be connected with God in awareness, and that connection I want to sustain it. That God is the unique and the supreme, the all great and the all gracious, the one alone worthy of focus, the one relevant, the one for me to relate to be aware of God's relating to me. There's nothing else for me to relate to more than relating to God. Only God really exists, firstly, for me to relate to and to connect with. Nothing else, nothing in the world of form, not another human being, not another created thing, nothing in the world of creation is anything for me to put first before God, to relate to before God. to feel multidimensionally secure with God is what I choose, and I do that generally. So that's general worship. And specifically, that when I see something I'm not happy about, I don't get so disturbed and distracted by that thing that I forget about that I'm okay. I forget about God, the unique and supreme, the all-great, the all-gracious, the worship-worthy, the praise-worthy. I forget about that God is the one that I place my trust in, and I care that God is sufficient for me to trust in, and totally reliable. I depend on that one, unfailing, with me and for me. I won't allow myself to feel assured that I don't have to worry about me and worry about problems, and I have God with me and for me. I'm not thanking that one that is thankworthy, that has given me caring, consideration, compassion, that has given me the contributions, the caretaking. I am not aware, I'm unaware, I'm operating in denial of the universal supreme power. I'm not really, genuinely, I'm not really genuinely aware of the one power, and the one power is relating to me, the innate value of that one power, and that the value of that power is valuing of me. That power relating to me is valuing me. I am valued by God. I'm being related to by God, cared for and considered by God. I'm okay. I exist. There's a power with me and for me. It's given me, it's good. It's for me to open up, recognize it, claim it, and I will experience it. There really is no problem. So this is what great masters, prophets and messengers did. In times of problems and difficulties, they surrendered. Thank you, Father, that thou art always with me. Not thank you, my Father, our Father who art in heaven, our God. Thank you, our God who's always with us. Thank you for hearing us always. Understand that we have you and we are in your care and we are okay with you. That no matter what is going on, we recognize that we are okay with you, that everything is okay. There's no problem, there's nothing to react to, resist, there's nothing to get upset about. That is for the non-believers. We choose security first. We will experience feeling secure with God now while we are overweight and while we address our overweight. While we are eating poorly, while we address our eating poorly, we will do that from knowing that we are secure, from feeling secure. We won't be disturbed by our overweight, away from feeling secure or okay. We won't think if we're not okay, if we're not overweight, then we'll be secure. We won't believe a lie like that. We know that we are secure while we are overweight, and while we address the issue of overweight, we are secure. And while we, have poor eating habits, we are secure. And while we address that issue, we are secure. We will come from security. We will know that we are cared for. We will not deprive ourselves of the experience of being cared for. We will not be foolish in fourth dimension and living lives of limitation and lack which don't really exist. We will be among those who experience actual faith. Well, I am. I choose that. And that's what I go. While my suppliers don't give me what I require, I am okay. I'll be grateful that I am okay in the care of God. I won't be an unconscious person thinking that if I get what I want from my suppliers, then I'm okay. When I get the toy, then I'm okay. I'll be one who knows my parents love me, I'm loved, I have so much to be appreciative of. I am in the care of God. I will experience assurance. I will experience okayness. I will live as a true believer. Believer means secure. I will live as a true experiencer of security. In any and every situation, I will be conscious that I'm cared for, taken care of. Everything is taken care of for me. That the caring of God is more than anybody and anything is caring. And it's always with me. I will rejoice that the consideration of God is always with me and for me. And I will be aware of that and experience that. I will be aware fifth dimensionally, multidimensionally. I will be aware as a adult, not a child. I will be aware as a human excellence, a person demonstrating human excellence. I will be aware. I choose awareness. And so, no matter what is going on, I'm not disturbed and distracted away from the greatness of God and His sufficiency for me. God is not a he or a she. God is beyond gender and form. So We just use that colloquially, everyday language. God is not even an it, because an it is something that is defined. God is the boundless, the expansiveness. And I am the creation of God, in the care of God, and God has considered me, and His compassion is upon me. I accept that, and there is for me, He's good for me, He's caring, and a part of His caring, His consideration is the quality of my survival, my existence, and the quality of my existence, and my experience is the quality of my experience. I recognize that, I see that is for me to live a life of ease, joy, enjoyment, that there's high quality experiences for me to have. I can see that only a multidimensionally functioning human being can tap into ease, joy, enjoyment, who can have that lightness of being. The believer and the non-believer are not the same. The believer and the non-believer are not the same. So, I commit to generally every day surrendering and submitting, recognizing now nobody, not even me, nothing in this world, nothing I think about, not my work, not my supplier, not my parents, not my behavior, not my children, not my children's behavior, nothing created is anything for me to be controlled by and to control. I just choose to first know, before I deal with anything in time and space, that I'm okay. God is great. I'm in the care of God. I'm okay. Everything is okay. There's nothing threatening. There's nothing adversarial. There's nothing obstructing. There's nothing withholding. There's nothing, as I said, oppositional, adversarial, and obstructing. Nothing threatening. There's only that one. I'm in the care. This is the divine reality. This is experiencing the divine reality. This is experiencing faith in the divine reality. This is experiencing the kingdom. This is experiencing Iman, whatever you want to call it. It's a level of awareness. It's God consciousness. I am God conscious. I live God consciously. I live security consciously. You understand? Security meaning there's nothing for me to live in fear of. There's nothing for me to be afraid of. There's only God that created everything. We are the creation of God. If we recognize truth, if we surrender beyond the belief in need, we won't miscreate problems and dramas and traumas. We will experience more and more security, and from that security we will be able to champion our powerful adult functioning. We will not be needy, denying ourselves the caring of God, the support of God. We will feel powerful, we feel confident. If you see me today, I'm more powerful and confident than I've ever been, more trusting in my ability to apply myself in my life. Why? Because I trust in God. Why? Because I know I'm in the care of God. Why? Because I know God is relating to me. I am related to by God. I can relate to myself now. I can relate to my body. I can relate to my life. I know that God has given me value. I can value myself. I know God has given value to my body. I value my body. Best of molds, the Quran says. I know that God says, God values my life and my afterlife. I can value my life and my afterlife. Why? Because I'm aware of things multidimensional. I'm aware of truth. I'm aware of God. I'm aware of the favors of God. I'm aware. Now I can operate from that level of awareness. I'm a different person, a more powerful adult. Less needy, more non-needy, freer, less power, not projecting power, independent, letting people be as they are, letting things be as they are, making choices for me that progress me and prosper me. Not trying to control and change people, just seeing people for what they are and choosing, do I want to be with them, don't I want to be with them? What is? Am I happy about it, am I not happy about it? If I'm not happy about it, I support something more happier. I am participating responsibly in support of being progressive and prospering, from peace in my life. And being that person who's an adult, and now I can say, right, bring it on, God. You have granted your good for me in this world and the world beyond. I am ready to receive it. I am open to people and things and experiences that support joy, enjoyable experiences, satisfaction, fulfillment. I'm ready to enjoy my life. I really am ready to appreciate people, things, and experiences, and value people, things, and enjoy people, things, and experiences. You're good for me in this world, what I can be, become, what I can live and experience. I'm really interested. And guess what? Suddenly, through choosing alternate realities, my reality starts shifting more and more with every passing day. I just start seeing what can be, and it becomes, knowing that it is the law, that whatever I claim is mine. And as I claim it, it becomes materialized for me. That God materializes that which I energize. So I learn to operate consciously, superconsciously, and supraconsciously. A believer is conscious, superconscious, and supraconscious. The unbeliever is like, I don't know, I'm in my mind and I'm lost in the world and these things are so important to me and I'm so upset and I'm so angry and my mother must be different, my brother must be different, my father must be different, my sister must be different, my children must be different, my girlfriend, my husband, my wife, everybody must be different, my man must be different, my woman must be, the government must be different, this world must be different. No, nothing needs to change. Nobody needs to change, not even you. You don't need to change anybody or anything. You just got to become more aware. As you become more aware of truth and you surrender and you experience, you will be changed, transformed through your experience of awareness of truth. You'll become more secure. Through your awareness of the grace of God upon you in this world, in the world beyond, your life will be changed. You can see alternate realities not only for you but for your loved ones, and their lives will be changed. You can see alternate realities for the world that we are in, and it will be changed. The more people operate in a supraconscious way, the more their lives and the lives of others are changed, without us trying to change it. Because this is all consequence, the reflection of consciousness. Do you understand? So this is what we're looking at, yes, this is what we're moving towards. The purpose for our exploration yesterday and today is beginning to see how did your parents live and what did it limit them in, what did they deprive themselves from. Are you carrying on in the same way? Do you want to go beyond that? If you go beyond that and you live multidimensionally, you'll be different from them. You'll be different from how they lived. You'll be different from how you lived. Are you comfortable with that? Does it sound strange? Are you afraid that people will look at you like there's something different with you, strange with you? But they'll recognize you are getting more and more secure, because you are in more and more truth, releasing the belief in need. And they'll notice that you are more and more independent and powerful and not behaving like a child and whinging and complaining and nagging and behaving like an addict and trying to feel good and abusing food and abusing your body and abusing people. They'll notice that you're becoming more honorable, more respectful of yourself, your body, your life, other people. They'll recognize you relating more powerfully. Might not understand you, but they'll start seeing, hey, she's different, he's different. And they'll notice that you are beginning to attract to you coincidences that are opportunities for greater joy and enjoyment. And people and things starts entering your life and your life starts changing. And they'll think, wow, she's strange, but it works for her. Are you okay with that? Or do you have some kind of allegiance to your tribe? I don't want to be different. I don't want to, this is strange, this is something I've never done. Maybe it's a cult, maybe it's something, do fears hold you back? Are you like, nah, I think I'll just put my toe in this teaching and in this work? Again, what you do with your life has got nothing to do with me. It's got to do with you and God. It's got nothing to do with me. I'm not sharing this to convert anybody into anything. There's nothing to be converted into. I don't want to make you into a thing. You're a spiritual being. You can't make you into a thing that's materializing you. We don't want to make you matter. We want you to know you are security. You are okayness itself. Are you aware of that? Are you experiencing that? Are you deeply identified with the mind and lost in matter instead of spirit? So the point of this is, will you generally support experiencing the truth, the divine reality, that there are people who either know the truth or don't. Those who know the truth will experience security. Those who don't know the truth won't experience security. Those who experience security can be self-full. They can relate freely rather than needily in their life. those who operate needily will abandon themselves. And they, in trying to get work done, money, food, all that sort of thing, will not focus on themselves and their lives. They won't focus on being cared for. They won't experience being cared for, loved, supported, and they will attempt to change and control things and get things, but in the process of getting things there won't be any fulfillment. There won't be any enjoyment. That they doom themselves by being needy and insecure and maintaining it. They doom themselves to operating in a powerless, needy, controlled by people and controlled by the life, controlled by things and people in life, in this world. They abandon themselves, and therefore they won't be self-full, they'll be self-abandoned. Therefore they're not open and receptive to God's good in this world and the world beyond. They can't attract high-quality people, things and experiences in this world and the world beyond. And they live like that until they suffer and die, and it doesn't end there. Their self-created horrors will continue beyond death. That's the divine reality. That's why masters were able to show the illusory nature of disease. Sickness, lack, poverty doesn't exist. It's self-created. The moment you stop creating it, it will cease to be. Strain, self-created, unlovedness, living deprived, all self-created through the ego. So this is it. I'm saying it to you plainly and clearly. Do you want to remain distracted away from God, the greatness, the graciousness, the unique, the supreme? Do you not want to know that there really is only God, the unique and supreme, all great, all gracious? Nothing else really is. Only God is to be related to, the significant, the special, the important, the relevant. Can you humble yourself and drop your importance of yourself, specialness of yourself, the world and things, what you think is so important? You can speak the truth, I overeat, but you don't have to make that now more important than God and get distracted away from God because of it. That, yes, my child is involved in such and such thing, and I'm not happy about it, but I'm not going to get distracted away from God, the power that exists, that is caring for me and my child. And yes, that power is available for me to invoke on behalf of me and my child. I'm not going to deprive myself of that. I'm not going to make what's happening or what has happened or what can happen be something to focus on in a trance, that I forget about my security, that I exist and I will always exist. And there is God sustaining my existence, and there is God supporting the quality of my existence. There's God's good for me in this world and the world beyond. I can claim it. I'm not doing that. You understand? I don't want to get distracted from the security with God and the satisfaction with God that exists for me to experience. See, why must I project power onto something and somebody and get so distracted by them that I fail me in feeling secure? I fail me in knowing that I am cared for, I'm okay. I am in a trance that keeps me from experiencing I'm okay. I can have financial problems, but I'm okay. I can have health problems, but I'm okay while I have it. I can have relationship problems, but I'm okay. The ego says, no. Forget about your okayness. Forget about God. Don't focus on that. All there is this problem. Become mesmerized by it. Get so lost in it. Forget about everything else. Exclusively focus on this. Forget about everything else. Forget about God and everything else that God has given you and what you have. Focus exclusively on what you don't want, on what you don't like. Pay attention to it, the total exclusion to everything else. We say exclusive focus to God. We are distracted by God, not by people, things and experiences, if you understand what I'm saying. The believer is more interested in security with God. The believer is more interested in experiencing the security with God than they are interested in the okayness with God, the truth that I'm okay, everything is okay. With God, then I need to be happy and I'm not happy. I need to be pleased and I'm not happy. It displeases me the way things are. It displeases me the way I am. It displeases me, the way my loved ones are. The believer says, I don't need to be pleased for me to be okay. I am okay now. I'm always okay whether I'm pleased or not. I am always okay. My being secure is more important to me than being pleased. Because from being secure, I know I'm okay. And I know that I can access through superconscious, that's security, my satisfaction, which is supraconscious. I want to experience being okay now so that I can claim what exists for me to claim with God, and as I claim that with God, it becomes. I can have for me and for others the experience that we desire. If we're interested in it and we want it, we can have it. So why must I get so upset about the way I am now? Can't I just speak the truth about this is the way I am now, but the way I want to be is what? And I'm happy that there is another way for me to be, and I can be that. How wonderful that there is another way to live. This is what I'm saying to us, that would we rather get disturbed by what is currently happening, reflected in our mirror about our energy? Oh, I attracted the wrong plumber, for example, costing me, lots more than it would have. Do we focus on that and get upset about that? And go into a trance, or we realize I'm not pleased, but that's not the most important thing. I'm secure, I'm alive, I exist, I continue to be alive, I continue to exist, I will always exist by the grace of God. I'm very grateful for that, having existence. And God is interested in my quality of existence, not just interested in my existence, but the quality of my existence. There's experiences for me to have that's enjoyable and pleasing. There's for me to be the way I want to be. There's for me to live the way I want to live. There's for me to experience what I want to experience. How cool is that? So let me not get disturbed by the way things are and react to it. It's not anything for me to react to. I speak the truth about it, but I speak the greater truth that I'm okay and I can have what I want. See, I speak the greater truth that I am okay and I can have what I want while this is the way it is. And I can multidimensionally, energetically experience okayness, security. And I can experience the delight of the reality I desire. This is worship and prayer. And by going through a shift in my energy, in my vibration, I am changed. The way I am changes. The way my life is changes. How cool. That's why the great master said, pray believing that you have what you want, and it shall surely come to pass. Whoever decrees a thing without a doubt in their heart, see it and feel it like it already is, and trust, release for it to be materialized for you, for it is the law that whatever is energized is materialized. This is the principle of perfection. Whether you are multidimensional or you are in your ego, whether you are flowing energy or you are distorted in your energy, it's always reflected back to you. It's how it is. This is the principle on which the universe is built. Cause and effect. What you put out is what you get back. How you be is what you experience. So, you've been given a training through the Blissful Living teachings and now also Universal Bliss. For those of you who really want to experience liberation, security, selffulness, power, satisfaction, and you can acknowledge and accept. You can, release, recognize, and receive. You can rejoice through an awareness of truth and feel. You can't feel by moving things around and changing things. That's an ego feeling of relief, safety, and satisfaction. The ego is into relief, not ease. It's into safety, not security. And it's into excitement, not satisfaction. So, if you are like, let's move things around so I'll feel different, that's not really feeling different. It's playing ego games. But if you really want to feel different, if you're really interested in yourself and how you feel, really, if you want to feel a higher vibration, it's through faith. Whoever has a faith the size of a mustard seed will say mountain move and the mountain will move. Whoever experiences security multidimensionally with their creator, with the awareness of truth, they will desire a thing or energize a thing and it will become. See, same thing. It's universal teaching. There's been one truth. There'll always be one truth. There's one spiritual truth. There is one creator, one universal creator. There'll always be one universal. There's one unique and supreme, all great, all gracious, beyond creation creator. There'll always be. There's one humanity. There's one spiritual truth. There's only one. There's no two. There's one peace that you and I feel. There's one security that you and I experience in worship, in knowing the truth, in experiencing the truth. There's only one. There's not one for people from Europe and one for people from, Far East. No, there's the same one security for all human beings to experience in surrender, in experiencing security. There's only one security for us all. There's only one faith for us all. There's only one truth for us all to be aware of. You can only be aware of one universal truth as I can be aware. You can have one experience of trust and okayness that I can be. The question is, who is going to surrender their ego selves to go multidimensional and to ground themselves in 0 point and experience that no matter what is going on, I choose to accept the truth that I am okay. I choose to appreciate that God is unique and supreme, the championing presence, and that I am in the care of God always. No matter what is going on, I'm going to accept that I am okay. Why won't you accept that you're okay? Why don't you want to learn to accept that you're okay? Why do you want to keep yourself impoverished, insecure? Why do you want to believe that your okayness depends on people, things and experiences being a certain way or not being a certain way? Why don't you want to experience freedom? Why won't you accept that right here, right now, nothing is needed for you to experience security, aware of the truth? Why won't you just be aware of the truth and experience the truth? That nothing is missing, nothing is lacking. That you exist and you will continue to exist, that you're sustained in your existence. The quality of your existence is a given. The existence is a given, and the quality of your existence is given as well. That you have the most valuable thing right here, right now, is your existence as a gift of God. That having God give you existence and your continued existence is the most important thing. You understand? What more can be more important than existing? Why do you not want to appreciate your existence? Why are you against appreciating your existence? What are you distracted by? What are you disturbed by? What are you controlled by? How do you show up in the world? What are you focused on other than your existence and appreciating your existence and valuing your existence, and obviously valuing the one that gave you your existence, because you don't exist except because of the one that gave you your existence, the one that really exists. Why won't you acknowledge the one that really exists? Why don't you acknowledge the one that really exists? What are you busy with? How do you show up in the world? Why don't you acknowledge your existence and the value of your existence? Why is your existence and the value of your existence not enough for you to feel okay? Why do you not want to value your existence, but you want to value experiences? Why are you obsessed with experiences in the world of people, things and experiences, but why are you not really into the real experience of security? Why aren't you really into okayness, experiencing okayness, but the experience of circumstances? I don't have enough of this, I have enough of that, then I'm okay. Why are you so into a trance? What trances control you? What trances have you been controlled by? What trances have controlled your parents? How did it show up in their life when they gave their power away, when they didn't feel cared for? Where was the fears that they were protecting themselves from? What did they believe that they needed to do to get? What was the superstition that they had? How did it hold them back? Look at it. How are they held back now? Have compassion for them. Know that they are allowed. Don't judge them. Don't blame them. Have mercy and compassion upon them. Forgive them. Invoke the compassion and forgiveness of God that always exists. Invoke the protection of God on their behalf for them. That forgive them, God, for they do not know. As the great Master said, they know not. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. Forgive them, for they are ignorant. If they had truth, and they would never do that. They would never live like that. Nobody who has truth will ever idolize anybody or anything. Nobody who has truth will worship other than God, meaning focus on exclusively, pay attention to, focus on excessively, pay attention exclusively, and feel strongly about anything like it's so important, like, Smeagol in the movie, Lord of the Rings, I think it was. My precious, My precious, my precious. Yes, and why do you do a Smeagol? Does doing a Smeagol really help you? Do you want to be like Smeagol? Or do you want to be like, the wizards that, demonstrated power? Just using the fantasy movie as an analogy. So, who do you want to be? How have you been showing up? How do you want to show up? What are you going to do? And there's nothing for us to do but support the consciousness of a believer. You might recognize, okay, there is a believer consciousness, and I'm going to support a believer consciousness. I'm going to adopt a believer consciousness. I'm going to look at how I've been showing up as a non-believer consciousness. How did my parents live as a non-believer consciousness? And how can I live as a believer consciousness beyond them? How did they show up and live? How can I show up and live? What can I choose differently from the way they chose? I can choose to commit to spiritual practice, generally and specifically. I'm okay. This is not anything for me to react to. My existence is precious. Of course, God is the ultimately precious, valuable. But nothing is as precious to me in terms of my experience as my existence. My experience can't be more precious to me than my existence. We wrote this yesterday, but can we write that one down again? Nothing is as precious to me, or let's say my experience does not compare with my existence as being precious for me, to me. My experience does not compare with my existence as being precious to me, for if I did not exist, I would not have experience. The believer is aware of this. Child is not aware. No, what are you talking about? No, on my bike, on my toy. So, yeah, that's my introduction for today before we get back into, the exercises and practicals we were doing yesterday. And welcome to day 2 of our weekend workshop, the Johannesburg group for the month of September 2020. And the floor is open for your sharing. Again, we're supporting experiencing the divine reality, having the believer consciousness, and living the healing truth. Experiencing the healing truth and moving to a higher level of being human excellence. Floor is open for sharing and questions, thoughts.